What's up, guys? It's Rory here from Nintendo Life, and I'm here with Richard Perrin, the creator of Journal, and we're just talking about the game. So could you just talk us through what it's about?
Okay, so Journal is an adventure game where, rather than focusing on puzzles, I'm trying to focus on character interaction and just dialogue and narrative choices. And so it's a game where you just play through the life of a young girl and kind of trying to deal with the issues that, you know, childhood issues like lying to friends, cheating on tests, the things that don't seem like a big deal when you're an adult, but like when you're a kid, those matter a lot. And so the game is about making choices about how you deal with those and the consequences of that, of how that affects your relationship with the other characters in the game.
Cool. So is there any other indie games that you're taking inspiration from at all, or is this kind of your vision?
I tell you what, I've been working on this a long time, but the thing that has emboldened me the most of the game wasn't really even an indie game. It was seeing the success of Walking Dead last year. Okay. Because Walking Dead's a game that basically, even though it was, still had a lot of puzzles in it, over the course of the episodes, they realised that players were reacting most to the choices and the difficult choices they had to make and the character interaction. And over the course of that, you could see that they were focusing more on that. And it made me realise that the things about this game that I was unsure about, which was that it never really had puzzles that worked in it, made me realise that it's worth trying to do these kind of games where you're not relying on typical gameplay mechanics if they don't fit the experience you're trying to make.
Okay, so obviously we're at Rezzed, and the big focus is indie games and mainly PC launches, but obviously we're interested in Nintendo platforms, and you signalled kind of an intent to work with Nintendo and get this game up and running on the Wii U. Is that correct?
Yeah, because Nintendo have been a lot more open with indies than they necessarily have historically, and I think that's a great sign that this generation where the big companies are looking more to indies. And so I met up with the Nintendo guys at PAX and GDC earlier this year, and now they've already sort of sent me out a dev kit and the equipment needed to take a game like this and get it onto their platform. And I've already sort of managed to get rough bits and pieces working, and the hope is this will eventually come out on Wii U later in the year. Obviously, Nintendo still have an approval process, so I can't guarantee it, but I don't see that there would be any problem.
So what do you make of publishers like Nintendo opening the gates almost to indie devs? Do you think that's a good thing for the industry as a whole?
Yeah, the thing is, I have to be realistic, obviously. We're not selling the million seller games, we're not selling Mario numbers or anything like that, but I think having diversity on all of the platforms is good for everyone, because the thing is, the industry's fighting for more respect right now. It's fighting to show that it's not just for kids who want to play zombie games, and one of the ways to do that is to have a diverse range of games, even if they're only fulfilling certain niches, but having games that are for adults as well as kids and kind of, for all ranges of people, I think is a good thing for not only for the whole industry, but for each of those platforms to show that they cover that kind of thing. And I think, I'm glad that companies like Nintendo are embracing that.
Okay, so on the same kind of level, do you think that perhaps, without naming any names, other publishers or console makers kind of closing the gates to indie developers?
You sure you don't want me to name names?
Yeah, does that kind of seem a bit short-sighted to you?
It does. Not naming names, but especially because those particular people have tried it on the previous generation, and maybe they felt it didn't make the money for them. But it feels like embracing indies is not only a way to as the stuff I've already talked about, but also it alienates customers, because there are a lot of customers now, even if they do play the big games, want to try indie games as well, and saying, "Oh, this platform won't have any of those." I think that is very short-sighted. I don't think there's any real benefit to them to locking out smaller developers. And it can only benefit them. I don't see why they would forgo that.
So you've never been published on consoles before. What do you think of Nintendo's process?
So there's ups and downs. Nintendo are maybe a slightly more manual process than a lot of other companies. There's a lot of emails back and forth, and there's a lot of, setting up the dev kit wasn't the easiest thing in the world. But the thing is, I'm not really complaining about that. You're talking about some minor technicalities of it not being the smoothest, easiest process in the world. When the opportunity there, I'm a developer. The fact that I have to do a few extra days work to get things working isn't something that I'm going to lose sleep over. Mostly I'm happy that they've opened up, and I think these companies are big and slow to change, and Nintendo are so many leagues ahead of even where they've been in the past that as I say, I'm trying to justify the fact that their process is very much email lots of people and spend a lot of time getting things on the dev kit that don't seem to make any sense working, but eventually it all comes together, and right now, where I'm at right now, everything's working nicely.
Okay, Richard, thanks very much for speaking to us today. When can we expect to see Journal?
Okay, so it'll be out hopefully later this year. I'm not putting a release date on it, I don't need that hassle,
Yeah.
But 2013.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.